Welcome. Take it up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Torsten Welte, who is head of aerospace industry at SAP. Hi, Torsten. Welcome.
Hey, Jessica. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. My goodness, what a week. The coronavirus is scaring the whole world. And I'm very curious to know your thoughts on, the aerospace industry, because it's heavily affected by people not wanting to travel, right?
Right.
Your viewpoint on this current situation, but more the bigger picture. What are the trends going on there?
Yeah, Corona is probably one of the crises that are happening in the world and impact people traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So the impact of airlines canceling their flights to destinations or less people traveling, less packages being transported, truly has an impact not only on airlines, but also downstream on aerospace industry. Because that will also impact how they will look at their funds for buying new aircraft or replacing aircraft or dealing with the lost revenue in the future. So that's truly a big cause for people, to impacting the industry.
Well, I mean, I think of Boeing and Airbus, the two big providers, but there are a lot of smaller suppliers that are in the industry that's really affected by this.
Yeah, so if you look at it at the industry itself right now, these crises really impact the industry and not just the bigger companies like the Airbus and the Boeings that produce it, but also suppliers because they provide the parts back up. And Boeing and Airbus, they're all dependent on a very healthy supply chain and that they're successful because if they don't have the parts, they can produce, and then there's delays, and it causes all kinds of problems with it. So the healthy supply chain is critical, and that's one of the trends right now. Is like how can the industry itself collaborate more effectively with each other? In the past, you have seen a lot of delays of aircraft and programs based on delays out of the supply chain or quality in that case.
Yes, and there must be consolidation in the space. Maybe some companies are not going to be able to withstand this crisis.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's the corona, as I said, is one, right? We had Brexit on the other side, where a lot of people were afraid because a lot of products were made actually in the UK. How that will impact the logistics of bringing things across the border. And also certifications, as an example, because you can't just move a wing production out of the UK and move it over to Europe. That's just a very tough thing to do. So the same thing happens with the suppliers, right? They have their locations and they produce there. Any geopolitical or health or other things really impacts the whole industry and also impacts then the output of the Boeings and the Airbus overall. Right, and they need to work together more effectively, collaborate more effectively, because the rates that they're trying to produce, that's becoming more and more of a mass production, even small mass production, that really requires a lot of automation and a lot of collaboration, a lot of trusted collaboration in the field.
So Airbus, I think, is producing 70 airplanes per month for the popular commercial ones.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Airbus, the A320 is a target of 70. They're right now at 62, going to 70. That's a big jump. And Boeing on the same rate ended at 52 for the 737 family. That's a lot of aircraft. That's basically almost two or 2+ aircraft a day that are basically produced. And if you look at an aircraft, I guess that size, they have thousands of parts and thousands of people that work on these aircrafts to get them manufactured and roll out the door.
And how does SAP Solutions, as an industry expert, how do you come in and help the suppliers, the manufacturers be more efficient?
Yeah. So the critical piece of it is to provide in the manufacturing process the right instructions, right? To synchronize from your planning process all the way through manufacturing to supply chain quality, all the different processes, that everybody knows at any given point of time what their job is and how they impact the value chain. Because any delay in it that happens, you have to react to it, right? So in the SAP world, we basically provide software that really provides that insight, but also supports all the value processes along the way, from planning it, collaborating with the supply chain, manufacturing it, doing the quality checks, delivery, and then service as well. So it's all incumbent and all the different areas in there, because in some cases even we have companies that do production and service in the same working cell.
Right.
And so it's very difficult for these companies sometimes to balance what's more important, and our software for the different areas helps them to optimize their operations so that they know what to do at what point of time.
Right. I want to ask about some of the innovation, because I hear a lot about automation using AI, and we are constantly pushing to automate tasks that are manually done. Yeah. I think, in building an airplane, there's just a lot of curves, and it's not as square. So tell me some of the examples where you've seen they're able to push for automation.
Yeah, in the past, as you said, Jessica, it's really hard for the industry to automate the actual physical activities. And the industry as a whole is very innovative. So if you look at all the aircrafts, there's a lot of innovation in it. Over the last couple of years, a lot of the manufacturing steps have been automated, where little robots crawl along the skin, drill holes, riveting those things, making things to almost fully automated areas of wind production. So there's a lot of activities that are happening, which means also now the next step is they collect a lot of data, and they need to a lot of data as well to make the next steps and react to it. So the interactions between the systems and automation tools is very, very critical, so that you have a consistent set of data that you can share back to the automated floor. So this Industry 4.0 concept is really starting truly in our industry to come to life. You see it more and more in the bigger companies like Airbus and Boeing, where they do a lot of the process automation. You see it also coming down to the suppliers, the tier ones and the tier twos. And now a lot of the shop floor automation is also moving now in the back office. So to your point of AI is used to automate quality inspections. So you take videos, and based on the videos, see where the anomalies are. You use visual instructions, voice instructions, or voice command with the systems, that the people don't have to take the tools away to interact with the systems to get their next instruction. So it is a completely different way of working. And in the next couple of years, we will see more and more of the new technology come in to assist the worker or the machine to do a better job, and a safer job too.
Right. Specifically, I want to bring up, is there a way to help, say, airplane manufacturers make sure there's no debris inside the airplane? Because as you know, that's a quality issue. Is there any automation or innovation that can help that problem?
Yeah, over the last couple of years, not from our company, but others in the industry, as you mentioned, look at very specific processes to ensure that the quality of the work is at the highest level. There's been talks and tools in place for years to basically capture through video and in other ways what people are doing and how they're doing it, to ensure that no debris is in it, or that screwdrivers get left in the skin of the airplane, or other things. That those are cases that happen in the past very often, that one worker left their tool and another comes and puts a panel over it, and off goes the tool with the airplane. There's processes and things that have been done over the years to improve that. And there's going to be more and more. The challenge is that you can't just put cameras all over the place or tools everywhere to make sure that every step is there. But technology for sure can help with it. There were some prototypes with glasses, Google Glasses, such things, to help people to scan things, or when they do wiring projects, that the computer basically looks at how they wired it with these wire boards to understand if there's any quality issues for it. So AI, videos, voice, and those kind of things are very good in helping assist the worker for a higher quality.
Now, you just came from a collaboration discussion with the hotel folks. And I wanted to ask, what are some of the innovations that we might see in the future of staying at a hotel, a fancy hotel?
Fancy hotel. Well, the interesting piece actually, it's not just the fancy hotels, but it's all kinds of hotels, but also in the whole travel industry, a lot of things are changing. A lot of more technology is going to be introduced. But we also have to understand there's some generations that don't have any technology or don't want to have technology. So there will be brands and areas that don't want it. They just want to have a really good shower and a good bed, which is critical. But also the younger generation really loves new technology, vibrant colors, streaming videos, capabilities to use their devices anytime.
Voice command, right? Turn off the light.
Exactly. Those things. And features, right, in regards to how do you interact with the staff, right? That you just don't typically interact by standing for 2 hours down at the front desk and chatting about the weather. Younger generation is just way more through the social media piece and interact with that. So that's more important for them, and they want to have an experience and share with their friends a lifestyle type-ish. So things in that nature is going to shift completely differently. And that's also for airlines, right? So hotels and airlines and others will deal with the same thing. How do I utilize technology in a more effective way to entertain people, to give them a much better experience? But on the flip side also is to understand how people feel while they're consuming these services and these products, right?
And with more IoT devices, you're able to collect a lot more data about that experience.
Exactly.
To further improve it.
Yeah. And that could be an IoT device, or it could be just, surveys or other things. There's so many different things that you can utilize. Some countries, they are a little bit more advanced than the Western world, where they actually already take the facial expressions by, if you're on Instagram and you have your filters and you smile and do these kind of things. So some companies mine some of that information. How did they feel about their experience in there versus in a traditional survey tool? So we will see more and more of that coming, especially because the consumer will express their needs, what they want. Is it more important for them to have a really good experience versus have a more carbon greener travel experience, right? So those are the things that the industry has to balance off, and the industry has to prepare and put infrastructure in place.
Well, last question. What are you most excited about in this industry looking ahead 5 years from now?
I think the most exciting piece is that we will create so much data, and we will basically get to a point where I think the airplane manufacturers, as well as the rest of the travel industry, can provide a very individualized experience. How do you basically create the services? How do you collaborate in that chain of the travel chain, in the chain of manufacturing an aircraft? How effectively do they work together, collaborate, look at new business models, right? Work from all the way from the manufacturing to the service, or even be involved in the operations of the aircraft or the hotels or other things, and create new creative services that really delight people when they travel, where they say, well, this was really a really, really great flight. this was a great journey, and it stays with me for a long, long time.
There you have it, folks. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Torsten Welte from SAP.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.